The rules are simple.
Every week, we watch a new movie.
Then, we discuss it.
Welcome to Weekly Cinema.
Hello, and welcome back to Weekly Cinema. I'm your host, McKenna Coleman, here with my co-host,
Gabe Late.
our producer,
Zane Florence.
and new to this episode, a guest host.
Mike Dawes.
Woo!
I'm
Welcome to
that
the
guy
podcast.
from Week in Tech. That's
you
crazy.
are. We got some crossover.
Hey, I
wonder who
that guy
Oh
is.
my god, crossover episode.
Whoa.
From our very own Anchor News Now, we have Mike
And yes.
Dawes from
And yes,
Monthly Tech or Week Tech, whatever you call
Whatever
it.
you call it.
It's
Okay.
monthly tech now.
okay, I have a point to figure out. He does have legs beyond the knees. For those of you who watch Week in Tech, he has legs beyond his knees.
Wow, that's
Right.
That's crazy.
That's right.
Wow.
Ow.
Okay. This week's episode, we have done The Shining. That's
Right.
right. Gabe got me to watch a horror movie.
I did.
Here's Johnny.
Yep, here's Johnny. This show is brought to you by Avon Lake Productions and is a division of Anchor News Now. Every week you can find a new episode, as well as this podcast. Follow us on Spotify and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a bit. But yeah, we're talking about The Shining today. I'm so excited to talk about this. I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. But McKenna, tell us a bit about the movie.
All right. So this movie is directed by Stanley Kubrick and is a 1980s horror film. The quick synopsis that this gives me is Jack Torrance, a.k.a. Jack Nicholson, becomes a writer-caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. He settles in along with his wife, Wendy, who played by Shelley Duvall, and his son, Danny, played by Danny Lloyd, who is plagued by psychiatric premonitions. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his family.
Wild. Man,
That
this
sounds like
movie-
something I would never watch. but-
Right.
But here we
There's-
are.
There's so many old movies, like
Yeah.
old horror movies, that are so cartoonish and so bad. It's like laughable, like Scream and like all of the original
80s
you know,
R-rated movies are so much more different than like modern R-rated movies.
Right.
Yeah.
But this movie was an exception. It was actually crazy.
Yeah, this movie
crazy.
full on like freaked me out.
I was not expecting The Shining to be this good, and I mean, yeah, it was so insane. I can't believe it.
I've heard stories. This is like mostly from my parents, who said like a long time ago. You know, when movies and stuff like Scream
Long before
were
time had it.
when movies like Scream were considered scary by people, when they went to go see The Shining, it was a whole different world. I mean, back then, a movie like The Shining, where it was like actually really scary. I mean, people consider movies like Scream and stuff like that actually scary at the time because, you know, we just weren't familiar with like the concept of, you know, horror movies because it was rather new, and seeing stuff like that on, you know, on a screen, it just seemed so real. And then going right into The Shining, which was already a very divisive book for just how like for how like terrifying some of the concepts and, you know, some of the descriptions were. Having that on a movie screen, I mean, that left people traumatized as children.
It was definitely a different experience for
Yeah.
everyone. It's definitely thanks to it doesn't lean heavy on it being like a scary monster or slasher type
Right,
of movie.
yeah.
No, because it's a psychological
It's a
horror.
psychological horror.
It's
But
literally
it's
just
still,
some
it's
guy
enough
goes
to
mad.
freak you out.
Yeah. And the acting, the cinematography, everything about this movie is really great.
I
I have to
think-
say, like, even now, it's probably one of the best acted movies.
Right?
Jack
It's-
Nicholson in this movie,
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
genuinely freaked me out. He's so good at the acting in this.
I mean,
Yeah,
but
it's
then
natural.
again, let's
crazy.
be honest, the acting in modern movies and like the CGI stuff really kind of puts a low standard on things.
Wonka.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you haven't seen the last episode, please
Yeah,
do.
no, it's acting has definitely changed a lot over the years, and it's
gotten worse.
It's gotten worse. People have stopped trying, and it's sad. But you know,
All
there's
in
a
the
few
name of
times
money.
you'll find
You guys,
a few.
I
hidden
think it's
gems.
time for our reviews.
Yeah, let's all give a review. So McKenna, go ahead and start.
Me? Okay. This movie, it was good. It's enough to freak me out, but it was a good movie. I don't normally like horror movies, but I'm gonna give this like a 6, 7 out of 10. It was good.
Fair.
It was good. I liked how Jack Nicholson, his expressions and everything, and the kid was like showed genuine fear as
Right.
well, and that's something that I think was a good portrayal.
Maybe it was real fear. Maybe he was actually trying to kill the kid. Method acting.
Yeah, right?
I love method acting.
But it was a good movie. It was good. It freaked me out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so who wants to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. So I've probably seen this movie like 10 times. And each time, you know, I just...
Really brought on a professional here today.
Wow.
Shining professional. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, each time you know, it's a good movie. I'd have to say, like, if I was to give it a rating, I'd probably say it's about a 9 out of 10. I mean, it pretty much pushed forward the movie industry in general. I mean, it was probably one of the first, like, actually big budgeted horror films. And, you know, I mean, everything since this movie's release has probably been somewhat inspired by The Shining. I mean, there's so many movies, and there's so many people who probably wouldn't have gotten into making horror movies and making horror stories if it wasn't for books like The Shining, or especially the movie The Shining. I believe that, like, you know, the characters and the way that everything is written is just great. I feel like every character goes through... Oh, well, there's our bell.
There's our bell.
Yeah, so I believe that, like, the characters and writing inside of The Shining are probably some of the best even still in, like, a horror movie. I mean, the way that each character is written is just... They develop. Every character develops. Maybe it's not, like, good development in the way of, like, you know, they don't become a better person. Most people become worse.
Maybe the real
right,
Shining
yeah.
was the friends that we made along the way.
But, like, you know, you see Wendy go from, like, just being, like, completely frail and unable to do anything against Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, towards the end, she becomes... she literally kills this man.
She's
She
a
goes...
warrior.
Yeah, no, actually...
Yeah.
How'd she kill him?
Well, actually, she didn't kill him, but
She didn't... Yeah, she
She
didn't...
maimed
she
him. She maimed
she
him.
outsmarted him and maimed
Yeah.
him. Yes. Yeah. And it was...
I couldn't
it was
afford a
pretty cool.
license to kill, so I got a license to maim.
Pretty much.
So...
Walmart, James Bond.
I believe that, like, you know, there are obviously, like, you know, some flaws with this movie.
Right.
I think that there's just some parts that aren't really, like, well written, but, like, I guess at the time there was nothing really better.
Yeah.
I would say I haven't read the book The Shining, and
It's
from what
actually, the book is way different, I've heard.
yeah, so I've heard the book is a little bit different, which I mean I can't really I can't
Every
really-
movie and book are
Right.
different.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
sometimes some things in the book just wouldn't be as entertaining as, like...
Yeah.
You gotta change things up, like,
Right.
for it to be more entertaining.
Yeah.
And
to get
for
your
it
money's worth.
adapt on screen and everything. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
some things you can't even portray visually.
I will say that it's probably one of the most quotable horror movies. I mean, like, you know, obviously, here's Johnny. I mean, that scene where Jack is ripping down this door with that axe is
Oh my God,
probably
it's
one of
so
the most
iconic.
It's so iconic, and it's one of the most tense moments in the entire movie.
It's incredible. The build up to that is insane.
Absolutely.
Like, are we talking,
yeah.
like, seat gripping?
Incredible. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
It's really good. It's,
No,
I'll,
it's a great part of the movie.
it's good.
Yeah, I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
But here, let me give my review. This has never been done on the podcast yet, but
Oh,
I'm
boy.
going to give this a 10 out of 10.
oh,
This,
wow.
First of all, I'd like
Whoa,
to say,
first making history here.
making
Gabe.
history.
Oh, boy.
I
First
saw,
in the book.
I saw this movie on VHS. That's how I watched
You
this
watched
movie.
it on VHS.
On
I watched
VHS,
it. I have a VHS
honestly-
player, and I bought it from like a thrift store a long time ago.
How much did you pay
Always
for it?
wanted to watch it. Only like $5.
Wow. Which
Yeah.
thrift store did you go to?
It was there's like so many thrift stores down by where was it? It was near the Veterans one, like that big one. That,
Veterans Hall?
Yeah, but it was
Wait, no,
near
Veterans
that.
Park.
No, it was like a veterans thrift store. It was like
Oh, Salvation Army.
No. I don't know.
Salvation Army's groceries.
But I'm pretty sure it was Goodwill. It was just near that area. But yeah, it was really
Veterans
good.
Park. Like I know the. Was it in Avon Lake?
It wasn't. No, we had to drive a bit.
Oh.
It was near like the mall.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, watching it
I
on
need to go thrifting
VHS,
sometime.
it makes the experience way better. That's for sure. The movie holds up really well. It was really ahead of its time. Stanley Kubrick is an amazing director. The Kubrick stare, where it's like where it looks down, where the person looks down and the eyes look up at the camera, iconic. As soon as you saw Jack doing that, it's like instant chills. We'll get into favorite lines and stuff later because I had a
Does
huge
it outrank
debate.
like the one Patrick Bateman stare where it just kind of just like zooms in on him?
Patrick Bateman, you do get heavy vibes from that. I can't remember who directed American Psycho, but
Hang on, let me look it up.
yeah, it definitely is like a reminiscent of that. But it was a great movie, great movie. It stuck with me, and it was an '80s movie that I was like, man, I kept thinking about it, and it was so good. I was like,
Mary Herron.
dude. Okay,
Okay. So let's get into what the critics have said.
right.
On IMDb, it's an 8.4 out of 10. On Metacritic, it's a 68%. Rotten Tomatoes, 83%. And overall, 88% like the movie.
Sweet.
Criminally
So this
underrated
is-
on Metacritic.
Yeah.
This is on par with what Gabe said.
Right, and we got to say, Metacritic still holds strong as
The outlier.
being the most freaking out there review.
It's the
ever.
worst. It's the worst site
It's
for
like
just
the-
about everything.
It's
You
I
guys
so
mean,
remember
bad.
you guys know who Comic Book Guy is from The Simpsons?
No.
The big fat dude
Yes,
that runs
I
the comic book
do.
store?
Yeah.
Worst movie ever. that's literally Metacritic.
Oh yeah.
that's actually
Comic
just
Book Guy
that's
incarnate.
everybody on Metacritic. It doesn't matter what you're doing, movies,
It's
games.
unbelievable.
It's horrible.
Oh god.
I've
This is
never watched The
officially
Simpsons.
a Metacritic
ever.
You should watch The
hate
Simpsons.
podcast.
Common Metacritic L.
Yeah.
All right, so what did you guys like about this movie?
All right. You can go ahead and start, Mike.
Sure. So honestly, I'd have to say one of my favorite things, other than probably the writing, is the cinematography. It is so good. The amount of shots inside this movie that are just flat out terrifying or just amazing or build up tension are great. Like I think one of the ones that I remember specifically is the one where the hotel attendant is like walking through. I think it was a kitchen or maybe it was hallways, and there were like it was kind of like a tight like corridor style place, and the camera was just like following him, and those shots like that are just great. And then like maybe the thing where with
just like no ambience, just
well I think there was like ambience, but it was like kind of like
remember.
it was kind of like tensiony
like just
ambience.
eerily
Right.
quiet.
Yeah. And then, shots like Danny standing in front of the elevator or Danny standing in front of like the two girls who want him to play.
Right.
The twins.
And then I think probably one of the best shots is like with the elevator with the blood.
I never
Yes.
understood that. What?
So it's a part of like his premonitions where it's like he thinks it's like it's warning him about the bad things about the hotel, and that iconic shot with the blood coming out of the elevator. Of course, I don't correct me if I'm wrong, but that might have been practical. It might have been practical. Because if it was, that's insane.
So what?
Yeah.
Like just fake blood?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh well.
Yeah,
It had to be.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
It's the old movie. Yeah, duh. Yeah. So I mean, that's
if
that's
they did that with real
incredible.
blood, I'd say.
I mean, they could have done it
They
with like
bought- they
cow
bought-
blood or
they
something.
blood they
Well,
bought they bought
it,
a
I was
full of
saying like it
blood.
could have been either CGI or actual real blood, and obviously
Right.
it had to be real blood.
It
And
must
it's
have been
so
like
good.
it must have been like some fake blood or like cow blood or something.
Something.
'Cause
Yeah.
All right.
It is such a good shot. I think it's probably one of the most iconic shots in movie history.
Right.
I think that just like the general cinematography in this movie is perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I guess I'll go next. I'm gonna piggyback off of that, Mike. the shots were definitely so ahead of its time. I mean, it was. First of all, I gotta say a couple of my key highlights. Of course, the axe scene, following the axe as it's being tossed into the door, is incredible.
Amazing.
Where it goes
Yeah.
back, front, just back and forth, back and forth. That axe swinging shot was really well done. Also, when Danny is riding his tricycle through the hallway, is so good. I mean, I think there's 3 sequences of him doing that just to build up the tension. First, he's doing it through like the kitchen and stuff, and he's just following behind Danny as he goes through the hallway, and you just purely just the sound of the wheels hitting the hard floor, then on the carpet, hard floor, carpet. Then it's again in the hallways, and then it's again last time, and you think nothing's gonna happen. All of a sudden, boom, the girls appear. And then it goes into another great shot where it's like the match cut of the 2 girls standing there, and the match cuts to them. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And then
Freaky.
Yeah, and then it comes back, and it's like it's signifying what the tragic thing that happened to them, and it's really incredible. I mean, truly, it's something that you do see in movies today, but for its time, it's really, really good. Other than cinematography, I mean, everything about the movie is great. It sticks with you. Even the ending. I mean, I had to look up the ending a bit because it definitely is a bit. I didn't expect The Shining to have such a not metaphorical, but a not implied ending. It definitely is.
Another thing I'm going to get into later, actually.
Right, and I think like that last shot because of course Jack is having a bunch of like weird visions of him and like the other guy who murdered his family when he was the caretaker. But when he was having those visions, and then you see at the end that he was a part of the painting, not the painting, the picture, and it says 1921, and it's like that's super weird. I'll have to look into it a bit more.
I'm actually going to talk about that.
Sweet, yeah, that's perfect because that's also I love movies that have like strange endings.
I know. Yeah. I looked at that and like, what 1920? What? And then my mom had me look it up. I'm like, huh.
Interesting. But yeah,
I will share this with you guys.
Yeah. But McKenna, what'd you like?
I'm gonna piggyback off both of you. Actually, the cinematography. I gotta say it again. Can't say it enough.
Right.
It was so good.
Yeah.
This movie. I mean, for its time, it brought out genuine fear.
Yeah.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
And that's not sugarcoating it at all. I'm not one to like enjoy horror movies. This one was good, but it freaked me out.
I mean, it's also.
But that's something I liked about the movie. Like I liked that it freaked me out.
And it's genuine, like it's genuinely scary because like also even with Danny, even though he was having like those creepy things where he kept saying red rum and everything.
The visions
and
the door.
Yeah.
When he with the lipstick. But why would she leave her lipstick out like that?
I don't know. I guess
what mother does that?
I don't know. But either way, they did it in a good way because there's so many movies that you could see now where it's horror and it's like the kid is trying to act creepy and it just does not work. No. Danny really did well. Yeah.
I think we're forgetting about the most important scary scene of this movie though. The one with the old woman.
Oh god.
Oh, I actually had to shut my eyes for that one.
That was
God, that is such a terrifying shot. Every time I watch that movie, it still gets me with just how
when that scene, I'm just like.
So I gotta be honest. I saw Ready Player One, of course, before I saw this movie.
Right.
And
yeah.
They have
so
that
you
same
know.
sequence in Ready Player One.
Yeah. You know.
So I was kind of expecting it to happen, but it's definitely Ready Player One did it in such a video game-esque way, of course, and it's definitely very out there. I mean, it's the tall lady, she's super tall, all I'm afraid, whatever. But the way The Shining does it is actually so much more creepier because, of course, Jack is having that vision, the weird, ominous, pulsating music, and then he comes up to her and he's hugging her and kissing her. It's like, well, this is really weird. And all of a sudden he looks in the mirror and it's this decaying old lady, and it's like, I mean, even though I was expecting it to happen, it really they presented it well.
It's pretty terrifying.
Pretty cool, yeah.
We talked about what we like. How about dislikes?
I'm gonna have to go last on that one.
Mike.
See, it's hard for me because there's so much about this movie that I like that it's hard to think about what I dislike.
Do you just want me to go?
Honestly, yeah, sure. Give me some time to think about what I dislike about this movie because there's something probably. The twins, they freaked me out. I just like them. Every time they came on, I'm just like, ooh.
Well, that means they did their job
Exactly,
well.
exactly. So that's just another point for
That's another
them.
good-
That's
yeah.
another good thing.
But I did not like that.
Didn't like that?
It was way too scary.
I like how they actually. I didn't expect the movie to show any gore at all, but I thought they definitely pulled it off pretty well. Of course, it wasn't over excessive or anything, but
No,
they
but, I
definitely
mean-
did the scare factor pretty well. With that.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say.
Yeah.
That I just like because it was a good movie.
I mean, I'm gonna say my same spiel that I did with I guess Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh boy, that was
no,
long.
no, The Breakfast Club. I'm not gonna go into it, but the same thing I said for The Breakfast Club because it's an old movie. Of course, there are so many things you would change now about the movie. There's a lot of outdated things about it. I mean, surprisingly, for an old movie compared to what we talked about in The Breakfast Club, there's a lot of things that still age perfectly in this movie.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's the point I'm getting into. It's like, that's what made the movie great. I mean, if you did a master remake of it and you HD'd it, I mean, watching it on VHS was so good. It really is like genuinely, and with that aspect ratio and the quality, it's definitely how you want to experience the movie. And I mean, there was a couple times when the VHS would go and like it would start like buzzing and stuff, and like because it's like an old VHS tape. I mean, it's actually a genuine one, and that freaked me out a bit, of course, even though it wasn't in the movie, but it's a part of the experience. And I do think it's so much more genuine when you watch it that way. It was really
because
cool.
there was like a loud buzzing when we were watching it.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, "What's that?" And my dad's like, "It's the movie.
It's
Just,
a movie.
just chill out."
But yeah, I can't say any dislikes about like anything the movie did. I mean, it's such an iconic movie. It's a cult classic. It is perfect how it is. And I mean, genuinely, I gave it a 10 out of 10. So I mean, what's more to say about it? I can't really say anything I dislike.
Mike.
I think that honestly, the only reason that I might give it a 9 out of 10 is because I mean, there's just some like kind of cliche cheesy stuff inside the movie. Maybe back
outdated.
then,
Yeah.
maybe back then it wouldn't have been cheesy or cliche, but like just now looking at it, some things are hard for me to be like, oh yeah, that's good writing, because maybe back then it was.
Right.
But like if I'm reviewing this now, there's some parts that I am not like, oh, that's it's scary. Like the twins are cool. Mm-hmm. I think it's a cool concept, but I think like it's kind of a cheesy cliche sort of thing to have like the twins, and maybe that's because back then nobody did that like that.
Right.
That was the thing that was started by
It started.
The Shining.
It set the bar. That's
yeah,
for sure.
no, like the scary children thing was pretty much started by The Shining and probably like Chucky or something.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know.
But like otherwise, I think this movie is genuinely perfect. Like with less of like the cheesier writing, I think it's genuinely probably one of the best horror movies of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even really think of a better one, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, there's I mean, saying if there's a better one, obviously, there is going to be some that are made better and stuff, and
Right.
there's some that hits harder. For me, I mean, this, but there's so many different categories. Like, I couldn't just give a favorite horror movie. I mean, like, I love this movie, but I also love Hereditary just as much, and I also, love any of the other, I mean, it really depends. But it's definitely true, though, that a horror movie can easily be done really, really poorly.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
it's not like, people say it's the easiest genre to make. I mean, it definitely does have one of the most diverse populations of movies in all of the genres, because it is easy to make, and it's definitely something that a lot of low-budget people instantly shoot towards, because it's something that you can really impress people with.
Right.
Wow. I mean, others, it's kind of hard to do
Yeah.
with this low budget, but it can very easily be done really bad. And this
Just
movie,
like just like anything,
good.
any genre you can easily mess up.
right? Yeah. And it's this is a great example of perfect writing. Perfect everything.
Right, yeah.
It definitely took time to make, and I respect it.
Here's one thing that I find interesting, though. The original writer doesn't like this movie.
That's what I heard. So, wait, what? Who wrote the book? Was it
Stephen King.
Stephen King, yeah, Stephen
okay, So
King.
it is Stephen King. Yeah, of course. Again, I know that's because of Ready Player One, but
Oh, boy.
yes, this is I'm pretty sure it's not Kubrick that hates it. It's Stephen King, right?
Yeah, Stephen King hates this
Stephen
movie.
King did not like The Shining, which is interesting. But I don't think he didn't like the movie. I think he just didn't like it at all, like his book even.
Yeah, that's what I think he just didn't like.
Yeah, let me see.
The book either.
Right. So why doesn't Stephen King like The Shining? The author complained that Nicholson's version of the character. Oh, okay. So
it is
he
the
didn't
movie.
like the movie. So yeah, the Stephen King doesn't like the movie, I guess, because it's, and I guess this is interesting. So he thinks that, of course, the whole idea of the movie is that Nicholson, when he goes to this hotel, he's supposed to go crazy over time because of, that's what happened to the last guy, and because of being stuck in a lonely place in the middle of winter, that's supposed to get to him, and of course his writing and the creepy spiritual stuff and whatever. But apparently Stephen King didn't think that he did that well. He thought from the beginning Jack Nicholson showed some signs of being crazy. Me personally, I think that's just his character and his acting and what he brought to the table.
Right.
I think it worked really well. I mean, it's definitely weird to disagree with the original writer of the book, but I do think that Jack Nicholson, the character.
I think he did a great job.
Yeah, great job.
I honestly just think that Jack Nicholson has a menacing aura. In everything he's in, he just has this menacing aura. I don't know what it is about him, but you see him and you know that he's a scary person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is. His eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows. The eyebrows.
Oh, man.
Whoops, I accidentally hit the mic with the headphones.
That's okay.
My bad.
That's all right.
Second time it's happened in this podcast,
Sorry,
guys.
viewers, for any hearing damage. Please don't sue me.
All right, so
What's your favorite scene or line?
yeah, this is a very, very easy movie to get some favorite. So you guys go first.
I'm obviously gonna go with my favorite. Here's Johnny.
Oh, so iconic. So iconic.
Such a good line.
I love that one too. But I gotta say, what was it? Oh yeah, when he's the kid is Tony, he's like, Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance.
Yeah, he does. I was genuinely impressed. First of all, Danny, I mean, I don't know his last name, but the actual actor,
Lloyd.
of course, Danny Lloyd. Dude,
He
he's
is.
such a good actor.
What an
For a
amazing
kid,
actor.
and he's like, what,
Incredible.
6?
Yeah. I mean, and he played that creepy voice so well. And when he was saying like Red Rum over and over again, it's like Red Rum, Red Rum.
That freaked
Dude,
me
that
out,
was so
man.
creepy. I was like, what is that? And that was so good. The fact he did that was incredible. I mean, props to him.
He's a great actor.
Yeah. But I gotta say, my favorite line of the movie is when Wendy is going up the stairs, and I have to pull up because I have to remember this. Wendy's going up the stairs with the baseball bat, going backwards, swinging at Jack as he's coming at him like this. And he's like, Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not going to hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in.
That is my dad's favorite line.
Crazy.
That's my dad's favorite line.
Oh my god!
Oh my
chills.
god.
He
That's
presented
that's
it so well. He's like, oh my god.
God,
He's
it's
incredible.
Such that is
No,
like
but,
there's so many good lines.
Like, I'm not gonna hurt
intense.
you. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
I'm
killing
you.
I'm
Just
killing you.
Straight up. It's so good. It's so good. Of course, I'm sure you guys know about the fun fact about that scene because, of course, who doesn't? But if you guys don't know,
I don't.
The fun fact about that whole sequence with her going up and stuff, you can noticeably see she is tired, she is sweating, she is like crying. That's because Stanley Kubrick had Shelley and Jack film that scene over 100 times.
Oh my god.
Actually,
back.
wow.
That's
to make
crazy.
her physically be done and sick and like tired of all of it to show genuine emotion. That's
Right.
why she looks so messed up at that last sequence.
Alright.
It's because of literally how many times they had to film that scene over and over again.
Jeez.
I mean, he wouldn't let it go. And I mean, it did well. It definitely worked.
That
Right.
is good acting.
Right.
Right there. Like
Right.
doing it over and over and not like
Yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate if you see behind the scenes stuff and everything. There is a few controversies behind this movie because of how they treated Shelley during the production of the movie. And I mean, it's definitely unfortunate.
It was a different time back then.
It was a different time.
Right.
Yeah. It's sad.
So, guys, speaking of fun facts, since Gabe brought this up,
Yeah, good
I
segue.
actually have a few.
All right, let's hear 'em.
For the scene in which Jack breaks down the bathroom door, the props department built a door that could easily be broken. However, Jack Nicholson worked as a volunteer fire marshal and tore it apart way too easily, so the props department were forced to build a stronger one.
That's actually crazy. I always wondered how they filmed that scene because he definitely tears down that door like it's nothing. I mean, that's incredible.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
they had to build a stronger door.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's another one that the film's cult following has been the subject of many outlandish myths. One of the famous myths was that he was in a very agitated mood because he was only fed cheese sandwiches for 2 weeks, which he hates.
What?
And that's Jack Nicholson.
Really? That's well, that's crazy. I mean, if that's true, then interesting. I mean,
He hates
wow.
cheese sandwiches? That's
Right.
weird.
They're boring.
I mean, yeah,
And
they're
there's,
boring,
Grilled
but
cheeses
wow.
are much better.
Oh yeah, grilled cheese is very
And
sad.
there's one more
Okay.
fun fact I have.
Yeah, let me hear.
So Stanley Kubrick, known for his compulsiveness and numerous retakes, like we have already discussed,
Right.
got the shot of the blood pouring from the elevators in only 3 takes.
Wow.
That would be unremarkable if it weren't for the fact the shot took 9 days to set up. Every time
Wow.
the doors opened and the blood pour out, Kubrick would say, "It doesn't look like blood." In the end, the shot approximately took a year to get right.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
What?
Dude.
A year?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I saw some videos of like people like work behind the scenes footage of Kubrick on set of this movie, and he is such like what he wants. It has to be perfect, set on the money.
Right.
A director. And
I mean,
wouldn't
that clearly
be
worked
surprised
out.
If he did that.
That
it
clearly worked out for him, yeah.
It definitely
But the
pays
fact
off.
he goes, "It doesn't look like blood." Yes, it does.
That's so
Bro.
crazy. Doesn't look quite right. Yeah,
That
let's
doesn't
give it
look like
another
blood. What are
time.
you talking about? Fill it back up. Put more cow blood in there. Make it redder.
That's pretty. Yeah.
And then I got
can
2
imagine
questions
that.
for you guys.
Okay. Here, ask me one, and you can ask Mike one.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So Gabe,
Okay.
in the interview scene, 2 of the men are wearing similar ties, but of different colors.
In the
One
interview
is wearing a tie of a very different style.
Okay.
Whose ties are similar?
Wait. So the interview scene where it's the 2 guys and then it's Jack, right? And they're talking about him. It's like, oh, did they tell you about the incident that happened? So you're saying out of those 3 people,
2
2
were
of
similar,
them were wearing the same tie?
but of different color.
Oh, a
But they were
different color.
similar.
They're similar. Was it Jack and the guy who was, I can't remember their names, but the main guy who was leading the interview?
Allman and Jack. Yeah.
Interesting. Is there a reason for that, or is it just outfit decision?
It just says Jack's tie was green and Allman's was red, but they were both distinctive knitted material. Bill's tie was multicolored silk.
Interesting. Oh. Well, that's
Mike.
All right, throw me an easy one.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be easy for you.
Oh,
But,
God.
In what scene is the shadow of a helicopter shown when it probably shouldn't have been?
Oh.
Huh.
I almost feel like I remember this. It has to be a window one. Is it the one where, like, he's by the window writing?
No.
No? Okay.
Which scene was it?
Yeah, I have
The
no
movie's
clue.
first scene when Jack is driving to the Overlook for his interview. This should have been easy as it's the only scene filmed with the helicopter, but the
because it's
shadow
up
of
above.
it is seen against the rocky hillside lower right-hand corner in the first shot of the Overlook. You can see the blades of the helicopter cutting through the top of the screen, and I'm not sure that Kubrick would have intended with these. I'm inclined to call them true goofs. A helicopter shot must be quite expensive, so I can understand not wanting to redo it.
That's crazy. I was
Yeah.
wondering while watching the movie because of the overhead shots when they're flying. I was like, there's no drones at that time, so I was wondering how they filmed it, and I was looking for any shadows. But
Yeah.
a helicopter, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I have
I mean, how
for you
else
guys.
are you gonna do
Really.
it? Like,
Yeah.
just build a giant platform out of plywood?
I mean, during that time, yeah, I
Fortnite
guess there's
build.
nothing you could do, especially how it was filmed. I mean, yeah, that had to have been a helicopter. That makes a lot more sense. But pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Weekly Cinema, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. Be sure to subscribe to Avon Lake Productions for more episodes of this podcast and our weekly news show, Anchor News Now. And also be sure to follow this podcast on Spotify so you never miss an episode. We're also going to be putting out bonus episodes that are exclusive to Spotify, so you can check that out soon enough. But yeah, be sure to see that.
And
It's
new,
mainly
we
because
actually
can't
have all our
upload them to
episodes.
Avon Lake.
And new, we actually have all of our episodes now on Apple Podcast as well. So you
right.
can
Oh, really? Oh.
listen to us on there as well.
That's right.
Fancy.
Where can you find this movie, McKenna?
You can find this movie on Sling, Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, and Vudu.
Or VHS.
Literally
Or
anywhere.
VHS if
Anywhere
you
you
are
want.
brave enough to buy it
Or
and
a
watch
Blu-ray.
it.
That's right. So yeah, that's it. That's it for The Shining. That was a pretty fun movie. I
Great
really
movie.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Mike, for joining us.
Thank
this
you
episode.
for having me on.
Yeah, it's been fun. But be sure to join us next week where me and McKenna will be talking about
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's
the movie
right.
made off of the...
if you don't know what Bohemian Rhapsody is referencing, there you go.
Because it's easy go,
Easy go, little high, little low. Anywhere the wind blows doesn't really matter.
We're gonna get copyright strike.
Podcast is taken down. No.
Anyways, yeah, so we are watching Bohemian Rhapsody.
The infamous
Queen
biopic
movie.
based off of Queen.
If
That's
you
right.
if you couldn't tell from
yeah,
their,
from our incredible
Amazing
performance.
acapella.
But yeah, that's
Encore.
all.